When you think of coins from the late 1980s, you probably picture pocket change that's still fairly common, still floating around in drawers and coffee cans. And for the most part, that's exactly what the 1988 Washington quarter is, an ordinary 25-cent piece that millions of people still have without realizing it. But as any experienced collector will tell you, there's always more to the story. While most 1988 quarters are worth only face value, some are surprisingly valuable because of their condition, their rarity in top grades, or because of dramatic minting errors that turn a common coin into a real prize. Today, we're going to explore exactly what makes the 1988 quarter special, what you should look for, and how certain examples can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Let's start with the background. The Washington quarter design had been in use since 1932, featuring the portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. By 1988, the coins were made of copper-nickel clad, weighing 5.67 grams, with a composition of an inner copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. Silver quarters had long since disappeared from circulation, last issued for circulation in 1964, so number 1988 quarters contain silver unless they're special collector strikes. Production that year was massive. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint issued coins with the D mint mark. The San Francisco Mint struck proof coins with the S mint mark, made specifically for collectors. Combined, hundreds of millions of these quarters were struck, so in raw numbers, the coin is very common. If you reach into your change today and find a 1988 quarter, chances are it's just worth 25 cents. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the huge mintage, not many 1988 quarters have survived in pristine condition. Most went straight into circulation, where they picked up nicks, scratches, and heavy wear. Washington's hair details on the obverse tend to flatten quickly, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse lose their sharpness with just a little circulation. For collectors, this means that coins with strong strikes, full detail, and no wear are surprisingly scarce, and that scarcity creates value. Let's talk about condition. A circulated 1988 quarter, even if lightly worn, is almost always worth only face value. Maybe $1 or $2 if it's attractive, but not much more. In uncirculated condition, values rise. Mint State 60 through 63 coins, which may still show bag marks and contact scratches but have no wear, can bring $5 to $10. As the grade climbs to Mint State 65 and higher, prices increase rapidly. An MS-65 coin, with sharp detail and only minor marks, might sell for $20 to $50. MS-66 examples can reach into the hundreds, and MS-67 coins, truly exceptional, nearly flawless quarters, are extremely rare and can bring hundreds or even over $1,000 at auction. The reason is simple: collectors who build registry sets compete for the very best examples, and since few coins from 1988 were saved in perfect condition, the finest survivors command big premiums. Now, let's shift to proof coins. San Francisco struck 1988 S proof quarters, both clad and silver. The clad proofs, made for standard proof sets, typically sell for $2 to $5 unless they're in exceptional condition. Silver proofs, which contain 90% silver, carry an intrinsic value tied to the silver content, plus a collector premium. A typical silver proof from 1988 might sell for $10 to $20, while flawless, deeply mirrored PR70 examples can bring considerably more. Proofs are relatively easy to identify because of their mirror-like fields and frosted designs, and most were never released into circulation, so if you find one, it almost certainly came from a proof set. But where collectors really perk up is with error coins, because errors turn an ordinary quarter into something extraordinary. The 1988 Washington quarter has a variety of known minting mistakes that can be worth far more than face value. One of the most dramatic are off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank isn't properly seated in the press, causing the design to be struck off balance. The result is a coin where part of Washington's portrait is missing, and part of the blank planchet shows. Minor off-center strikes of 5 to 10% might bring $20 to $50, but major off-center errors of 30, 40, or even 50% can sell for several $100s, especially if the date is still visible. Another valuable error is the missing clad layer. Since quarters are made with a copper core and nickel outer layers, sometimes the outer layer doesn't adhere properly, leaving one side of the coin showing the reddish copper underneath. A missing clad layer error from 1988 can bring $50 to a few $100s depending on grade and eye appeal. Partial missing layers, where part of the coin is coppery and part is silvery, are also collectible and can be very striking to look at. Broad strike errors are another possibility. If the retaining collar in the press fails, the coin spreads outward when struck, leaving a quarter that looks oversized with a smooth, expanded rim. These can bring $20 to $100 or more. Strike-through errors, where foreign material like grease, wire, or cloth comes between the die and the planchet, leave unusual impressions or missing details on the coin. Depending on how dramatic the strike-through is, values can range from $20 into the hundreds. There are also double die varieties, though not as widely publicized for 1988 as in some earlier years. On a double die coin, parts of the design, letters, numbers, or features of Washington's portrait, appear doubled. Strong double dies can be highly collectible and worth a significant premium, often ranging from $50 up to several hundred, depending on clarity and grade. So, how do you know if you have a valuable 1988 quarter? Start with the mint mark. If there's no mint mark, it's from Philadelphia. A D indicates Denver, and an S means San Francisco. Proofs from San Francisco are usually obvious, with sharp, mirror-like surfaces. Then, look at the condition. Coins that are bright, lustrous, and free from wear are the first candidates for added value. Examine the details of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. If those features are sharp and the coin has full mint luster, it could be worth setting aside. Next, look for errors. Use a magnifier to check the lettering for doubling. Inspect the rim to see if the strike looks off-center or unusually wide. Look at the surfaces for missing clad layers or odd marks from strike-throughs. Weigh the coin if you can. A normal clad quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, it could indicate a planchet error. Finally, remember that certification matters. A raw coin that looks great might only bring modest money, but if a grading service confirms that it's MS66, MS67, or a dramatic error, the value can multiply. Certified coins inspire confidence in buyers and usually bring top dollar at auction. So take a second look at that 1988 quarter in your change jar or tucked away in your dresser. It might be nothing more than a coin to spend, but it could also be one of the few survivors worth far more than its face value. And if you're lucky enough to spot an error or a nearly flawless gem, you might just be holding a hidden prize from the late 1980s.